Hey Oasis Church family, Brandon Maxwell here with another Maxwell Moments. So last week we talked about Jesus feeding the 5,000. Well, that story continues with Jesus leaving the crowd because they were trying to force him to become king. So he goes out to the Sea of Galilee, his disciples get in a boat and go into the Sea of Galilee as well, and they see him walking on water, and they're terrified because they think they're seeing a ghost. Well, he tells them not to be afraid because it's him. So he gets into the boat with them, and they go to the opposite side that they started from. But the crowd that Jesus fed is looking for Jesus. So they have to go to the opposite side of the Sea of Galilee, and they find Jesus, and they begin to have this dialogue with him. And they ask him, "Hey man, where did you go?" And Jesus says, "You're only looking for me, not because of the miracles that I performed, but because you were fed. You should be looking for food that does not spoil, that gives you life." And they said, "What must we do that God requires?" And he answers, "The work of God is this, to believe in the one whom he sent." So the crowd does something that Jesus quite often deals with. They say, "Hey Jesus, give us a sign. Our ancestors got manna because it says that he sent manna from heaven." And Jesus says, "Moses didn't give manna from heaven. It is God who gives bread down from heaven to earth, and God who gives bread to give life to the world." And they ask him, "We want this bread. Give us this bread." And Jesus says this, "I am the bread of life. He who comes to me will never go hungry, and he who believes in me will never go thirsty." When I read this passage, especially in this time, I'm reminded that we are to find our hope and satisfaction in Jesus Christ alone. This time is very stressful, and I'm feeling the brunt of it. I'm sure many of you are feeling it worse than I am. I'm having to work from home. My kids are in at school, so I have to be a teacher at school. I still have the responsibilities of being a leader at the church. So it can feel a little overwhelming. But understand this, that Jesus is our peace and hope. In that passage, we read about two very basic needs, food and water. And he says, "Anybody who comes to me will never hunger, and anybody who believes in me will never go thirsty." Jesus is reminding the crowd that it's about what's eternal that is truly important, to keep that at our top priority. In this time, you are going to be challenged in ways that you probably never imagined. It is a time where maybe God is trying to help you grow, build your character, build your perseverance. One day, you may have your life to share with someone to give them hope when things are difficult. Unfortunately, the world we live in is always going to have difficult circumstances. That is a direct effect of sin. But Jesus is the answer to that. So remember, find your peace and hope in Jesus, because one day it may be a story that you could share. Thank you.